Okay, hello everyone. First, I would like you to imagine something. Imagine a community where people are living together. We're working together towards something that's bigger than us. We're working towards creating a better future. We're living in a compassionate place surrounded by compassionate people. We're living in a community where people are vegan, and this is a normal way of life. I'm very happy to tell you this place exists, and it's called Sadhana Forest. So Sadhana Forest began in 2003 in a place called Auroville in India. And Auroville is an experimental township in human unity. It was designed 52 years ago during the Cold War, when you had two forces of evil ready to blow each other up, and they said there should be a force of peace where people can come together and create a new world, a better world. And this was started with people from over 100 different countries, where people came and brought soil from their region, and everyone came together in this community designed for human unity. So Sadhana Forest is a small community in this, and we are a community where our focus is compassion. So how can we put compassion into action and live the most compassionate way as possible? So as you can see from some of these photos, we look at how we can be compassionate towards the land, to the environment around us. So this is what Sadhana Forest looked like 15 years ago, and this is what it looks like today. We now have a forest. And this is another picture from about 10 years ago, and this is taken in the exact same spot, and you can barely even see this hut now, which is a very beautiful hut, but it's also very beautiful not to be able to see it anymore. And the way around this is we need to start looking at different ways we can be living. And lots of people talk about humans being parasites, cancers to the planet, destroying and destructing everywhere we go. But we're trying to show people it doesn't have to be like this. We can live in a way that's not only sustainable, but we can live in a way that dramatically improves the environment around us. And we're proving to people that we can do this, and we can do this in a very simple way. We don't have any future technology or anything. We are just people coming together, a collective effort of over 10,000 people coming together, working towards a goal and living together in a sustainable way. And there's an old saying where it says, true definition of compassion is planting trees in a space where you'll never sit under the shade of. And this is what we feel very strongly, because so many people come and go from this place. People spend a few weeks, a few months, maybe a few years, and most people don't directly benefit from the trees we're planting here. But it's creating this collective effort to really change the way we're living and to show people that we can do stuff for other people. We can do stuff for the environment, and we don't have to expect something in return for what we do. And this is a very strong part of Sadhana Forest, and we call this gift economy. We use a term called savor, which is selfless service. How we can give to people without expecting any reward or return for what we do. So gift economy is, again, looking at how we can have a compassionate economic system. Because currently in the world today, the economic system we have is this monetary system that you see everywhere, but this discriminates against people that doesn't have the economic privileges to purchase stuff they want. So this economic system works by, if you want something, I will give you something, and you will give me some money, and we exchange this. We also, before we had this, we had a barter economy. If you want something, I will give you something, and you will give me something in return. Gift economy works a little bit differently, whereas if I give you something, we are finished. This is the beauty of it. You don't have to expect anything in return. You can just give and give as much as you want, and it's such a beautiful feeling when you know that you have an abundance inside you where you don't have to keep expecting from other people. You can just give, and you can give to the environment, you can give to the people there, you can also give to the animals that we have as well. So we have animal sanctuaries in our projects in India and also Kenya. And this is a beautiful place where people can really get close with animals and live with them. So many people come to Sadhana Forest and ask us, why do you have cows? And then they say, do you milk them? And we're like, no, of course not. Then they say, what about their compost? You must be doing something. You must be taking something from them. And we say, we collect all their manure, we compost it, but then we spread it in the land that they have so we can grow food for them. We can live with animals and we don't have to take from them. So the answer I reply when they say, why do you have cows? I love the question so much because I love the answer. And it's just, why do you have friends? Because you like to be with them, you like to live with them, you like to share your space with them. And this is really beautiful. And this cow here, this is Vishnu. He is the best vegan activist I've ever met. He has turned so many people vegan, me included. I would like to share a little personal story with Vishnu. When I came to Sadhana Forest, I was not vegan. I was actually the largest meat eater in my family. I used to go hunting. I'm so sorry for saying this. And I came to Sadhana Forest understanding the environmental aspect of the animal agriculture industry, and I was becoming passionate about this. But I did not have a connection with farm animals, and I didn't see the empathy side, the ethical side of this. Spending time with Vishnu, I was brushing him on his neck, his head went up, and he started making noises I never knew cows could make. And then I walked away, and then he came up and nudged me, and I just kept brushing him. And it was in this moment I realized these animals, they're not here for us, they're here with us. What right do we have to take from them? And this is such a beautiful part of Sadhana Forest because it's designed in a way to bring compassion out in people. We follow a certain life where it's very difficult to not feel compassionate towards the people around you. When you're just giving to each other all the time, you're working together, we're being as compassionate as possible towards the animals. This just comes natural to you when you live in this place, and it engineers inside you and grows. And so many people come to Sadhana Forest, and it's very hard to not change in this place. It's very hard not to take anything away, and to, when you come out of this space, to feel like, wow, that has really had an impact on the way I'm living. So Sadhana Forest started in 2003 in India. But we also started another project in 2010 in Haiti and another project in 2014 in Kenya. So we talk a lot about compassion, but a key part of Sadhana Forest is a reforestation. And we are putting compassion into action with the environment around us, and we are looking at ways to create a sustainable future and a sustainable environment around us. So in Haiti and Kenya, we follow a reforestation model that is very unique and very effective in working with local poor communities that are suffering from the most severe cases of deforestation and also the most severe cases of malnutrition and hunger. So Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And it was devastated in 2010 by an earthquake that caused so much destruction to the people there, the economy, and the social system in this place. And what we are looking at is places like this where are suffering from malnutrition, suffering from deforestation, and how can we support these places? So what we do is we basically go door to door to people's homes and say, would you like trees that will give food? This food will be able to feed your families, you'll have surplus to sell to other people, and you can be self-sufficient, you can be sustainable, you can live in a way that you can produce everything you need and you don't have to be reliant on first world countries, and you can just be self-sufficient. And we do this, we plant trees that give food, and they take about 5 to 7 years to produce, so it's a very long time. It's a big commitment to these people. But the beauty of doing reforestation in this light is that people have a strong incentive to keep the trees alive, to look after them, and not to cut them down when they grow big. This is a big problem in reforestation where the trees are not protected. But if you create a model where people can grow trees and it's feeding them, they have this clear incentive to not cut it down. And also another beautiful part of it is we're not going to these third world countries and saying, you should go vegan. We are saying, okay, let's create vegan alternatives for you. Let's create plant-based food security where these people can be self-sufficient. They're going to be so much healthier. These people suffer from malnutrition so much. And they're going to also be better for the environment as well. And this is the model we started in Haiti. We had some challenges in this place, being Haiti is known as the graveyard for NGOs, but we learned so much from that. And then we started another project in Kenya in 2014, following the same model. And now we're looking to scale up Sadhana Forest. We want Sadhana Forest in all dry, arid corners of the world. There are so many places out there that could do with a Sadhana Forest. I would like 5, 10, 50 Sadhana Forest, showing that we can live in a compassionate way. We can live in a way that improves the environment around us. And when you can start creating a system like this where people can come out of this normal system that we see in the world and stop participating in it and participating in something that is working towards a very different goal and a very beautiful story. And this is amazing. And I feel so lucky I found this place, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And I'm so happy to be able to share with you all today about this place. So another very important part of Sadhana Forest is how we raise our children here. So a lot of things about Sadhana Forest is let's do things differently. Let's not follow the normal way society is doing things, because we need to look at new ways of doing things. Because if you look at the world we're living, this is not as good as it gets. There's definitely better ways out there. So we look at different things and how we can do it in an alternative way. But we're not saying this is the best way, the right way. This is the only way to do something. We're saying we're an experiment. We can look and try new things and learn and see if it works. And if it works for us, that's amazing. And if it doesn't work for you, that's amazing as well, because you may be able to take some from it and you can start to adapt this and suit it to your lifestyle. So the education model that we use in Sadhana Forest is called unschooling. It's also known as natural learning. And the easiest way to explain how this works is, first, if we look at the current educational model we see throughout the world, where we are basically telling children what they need to learn. We compete them against each other, sitting exams, and we say, this is what society expects you to learn. And everyone we know is individuals and are interested in different things, but that doesn't matter in our current education model. Everyone is the same and everyone competes against each other. Homeschooling is a bit different, where instead of you're doing this in an institutionalized education system, you're doing it at home. But you're still sitting exams, you still have a curriculum, you're still telling your child what they need to learn. Unschooling is a little bit different. Instead of saying you need to learn this, you step back and say, what do you want to learn? What do you want to do? What do you want to be passionate about? What is curious to you? Because if you find a child curious about something, they want to know more, they're going to learn so much faster than being told you need to learn this. And this is what we've been experimenting in Sadhana Forest for 15 years now. And we've had many different children come through this education system throughout the world and also in the community. And I was very skeptical of this model at first, but the more I've seen it, the more I've seen children come out of this, I really see there's so much potential in having a different model like this, because it sounds very cliche, but children are our future. And we need to create a future where they can live in and they're happy living, and they need to be leading the way. And we have no right to tell these children what they should be doing, what is best for them, because look what we have done to the world. So we want to step back and see what the children can do. Also, another part of Sadhana Forest is water conservation. So we hear lots about the oil crisis in the world today. We're running out of oil. What are we going to do? But I'm very sorry to tell you, we're in a water crisis right now, and it's going to affect us so much more, so much faster than the oil crisis could ever imagine doing. Basically, every major city in the world is suffering from a water crisis, but it's so much worse in third world countries. India is a beautiful but very sad example of this, where there are cities like Chennai and Bangalore that are going to be running out of water in the next 5 to 10 years. And we need to look at ways that we're living, and many people, I'm sure, here knows that diet is a very important part of your water consumption. So we talk about that as well. But it's also reforestation is very important, and just your daily lifestyle. So instead of using taps and showers where it's using loads of water, we have bucket showers. So we fill up a bucket, use about 10 to 15 liters of water, and then you just pour it on you and you wash through this way. A normal shower would use 100 liters of water for 3 minutes. We can have a bucket shower in 10 liters of water, and this is beautiful. And also, when we look at different things we're doing in our community, we have a hand wash station where Water goes back into the trees that we use to wash our hands. And this is the idea of let's have as little waste as possible. We try and follow a permaculture principle where the idea around this is you can live in a way where there's a system and everything has a use and nothing goes to waste. Because I like everyone to look and think about nature. I usually am talking about this in a forest, so I can use better examples, but we're in a bit of a concrete jungle right now, so it's not so good. But imagine every insect, every tree, every plant, every bird, everything alive in nature. Everything has a use and everything has a purpose. Now look at us for a second. Look at our oceans. Look at our roads, our pathways, our landfills, our air. There is so much waste and pollution everywhere, and this is so unnatural. This is not the way we should be living. So we're trying to look at ways that we can use things and have a use for everything. And this idea of waste doesn't have to exist, and we can live in a system where everything can be useful. And a really great example of this, which I love to talk about, is something that we often call human waste. The poo we produce. This is somehow a waste product. Has no one ever heard of human manure compost? So we can go to farms and if you say, I've got all this cow manure, would you like it for your land? They will say yes. I've got all this chicken manure. Do you want it for your land? They will say yes. If you say, I've got all this human poop, would you want it for your land? They will be running away from you. They will think you're crazy and they won't want to have anything to do with you. But I would like to make the argument that it's human manure. If you do it responsibly and people are consuming an organic plant-based diet, it can be just as safe, if not so much safer, than using animal waste that is being pumped with antibiotics, growth hormones, fed with food covered in pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and huge amounts of fertilizers. So we use all of our human waste and recycle it and make it compost. And we use this compost to plant the trees. And this is showing how we can use something that people think is a waste product, but we can use it to dramatically improve the environment around us and to make a huge forest with it. So if anyone visits there, please leave a poop contribution. We will really appreciate it, and it will help us out a lot and help the trees, most importantly. So when you look at nature, when you look at forests, something that's very important to look at is biodiversity. Because if we imagine we have 1 million species on this planet, for example, and we have a temperature increase or decrease by, let's say, 2 degrees, there is going to be huge amounts of animals that are not going to survive. The extinction will be crazy, like we're seeing today in the world. And it's so important, but fortunately, there will be still a lot of species survive. Let's say we only have 100 species left, and then we have this temperature increase or decrease by 2 degrees. It could wipe out everything, or pretty much everything, and it's going to have dire effects on the whole ecosystem of the planet. So having a strong biodiversity is not only beautiful, you see so many different animals and plants and trees, but it's necessary for the the survival of the planet and the ecosystems that we have here. So when Sadhana Forest began, when the land looked like desert. It's not going back for me. When it was basically desert, there were no birds in sight. You couldn't hear anything. Then 5 years ago, we had a school, university, do a study, and they found out there were 71 different bird species living there. 1 year ago, we had another university do another study, and they now concluded there was 91 different bird species living there. So even today, the biodiversity and the species are growing at such a fast rate. And this is so beautiful to see. Literally every day you'll walk and you'll see like an insect on the floor and think, I've never seen you before. And yeah, you create lots of new friends with the little animals that we share our community with. So we also try and have most of our food organic in Sadhana Forest as well. It's not always possible in the locations where we are to have 100%. For example, in India, we have about 80 to 90% organic food. And we have 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we cook as a community. So people will take it in turns. And this is really beautiful because we live in an international community. We have over 1,000 volunteers that join us every year. Last year we had people from 46 different countries. And it's like, I say to people, it feels like I'm traveling around the world, but everyone comes to my home. And this is so lovely. And I love food a lot. This is also another big passion of mine. And when you have chefs that come from all over the world, putting their own little spin on the food, you have the Israelis making the amazing hummus, and Italians making pizza, and Germans making whatever you make. I'm just joking. But yeah, there's so much diversity in the food as well, and it's so beautiful. And also we live in the tropics, so we have lots of mangoes, avocados, pineapple, papaya, banana, all the foods we love a lot as well. I'm not trying to just entice you to come to Sadhana Forest with the food, but it was nice for me. We also, a really strong part of Sadhana Forest is people growing there with the forest. So we have a saying, let there be many more forests to grow people. And when you say it, it doesn't really make so much sense. But when you start seeing people there and start seeing people come and go and experiencing what you experienced there, you really start to understand it better. Because Sadhana Forest is not just about growing trees, it's growing people as well. Because when you look at the problems in the world, they may seem like physical issues on the surface. Deforestation, desertification, the oceans dying, the air pollution, all these things. But the truth is, these are social issues. If we can create huge social change, create a mass global movement working towards creating a better future, this is going to then have the automatic effect of creating huge amounts of physical change anyway. So it's really easy to see the physical change that has happened in Sadhana Forest, like them photos I showed you earlier. It's a lot harder to see on a photo the social change. To really understand and experience this, you need to be there. You need to, because there's one thing hearing about this place, another thing going to see there, but actually living there, experiencing the people around there, the environment is designed in a way to bring people together, to create compassion inside you, and to give it out to the people around you. And this is really lovely. So this is a photo in Haiti. Like I said, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, so we are really trying to support the locals there. We have a children's land there where children can come to play. We also have recently started a solar mill for people to bring the food they grow. So the main tree we plant out there is Maya nut. It's a superfood. It's so healthy for you. It produces over 200 kilograms worth of food every year. It tastes a mix between chocolate and coffee, so everyone loves it. And you can make cakes, cookies, bread with it. You can turn it into a flour. So we've got a solar mill there now where people can come with their Maya nut and turn it into flour. We're also planning to make a solar bakery there, so people can make their flour, then knead it, and then bake it in the ovens, and then come away for the bread, all free. And the idea around this is to make the largest free, vegan, solar-powered bakery in the world. And we are working towards this, and this should be ready very soon. And this is also a great opportunity for us to practice gift economy, but also the people coming to us to practice gift economy as well. And again, looking at having plant-based food alternatives for people to eat. We would love for more people to come volunteer with us. The more people we can have at Sadhana Forest, the bigger impact we can have on the people, the planet, and the animals that we share this planet with. And we want to scale up Sadhana Forest as well. We have 3 projects now, but we're looking at starting new projects in Guatemala, Tajikistan, Namibia, and many more places in the world. And the more volunteers we can have, the more people supporting us, the more people living with us, the bigger impact we can have on more people. And this is what we want to move towards, to create this huge movement, a grassroots movement. Say grassroots, but it's like tree roots. We're growing trees and doing it in a compassionate way and sharing this idea with people, and so more people can be a part of this place and to know this place exists as well.